Alright, we should be going live right about now. I'm going to wait a little bit and kind of make sure everything is set up properly before we get into everything. Let some more people filter in here if they do want to. If I'm having any audio, I have a fan running in the background, so if you guys can hear that, let me know. But everything should be good to go. So, the main purpose of this live stream is we're going to check out Manjaro GNOME. What I went ahead and did is installed it on my primary machine. I've been using it for a couple of days. And one of the reasons why I've been doing this is because I checked out Manjaro GNOME when it was first released, the 21.1 version. And VirtualBox didn't really like it. It seemed very nice, but there was a lot of little glitches and all that, primarily because of VirtualBox. So in this video, I'm going to be taking a look again on actual hardware, and I can actually kind of give not really a full review because I've only been using it for a day or two, but I can give you my initial impressions after actually using it. The last video on Endeavor OS I made on this system, so I've had some production experience on it. Last time I used Manjaro for more than a couple days I used it for like 3 months a while ago, and it's pretty nice. I use the KDE version, which is, I'm more used to KDE, but I've been forcing myself to use GNOME a lot more as of recent, primarily to get more used to it. But what we're going to do real quick before we get into that is I actually would like to kind of cover something that I posted earlier, and that is this right here. I asked lots of new people here since I asked last, what is your current daily driver? If it's Linux, let us know the distro NDE. So I asked you guys what you guys are currently running, and it seems like exactly 2/3 of you, 2 out of 3 of the people who at least responded to this poll. It's a 1.5k votes, so I think it's a pretty good sample. 2/3 of you use Linux, that's cool. About the other third-ish uses Windows. We have 4% on Mac OS and then 2% on other. So it's just cool to kind of know the what the subscriber base and what you guys are using. And I actually asked you if you are using Linux to post, so we can kind of skim through here while we wait for some more individuals. And I'm going to kind of try to pay attention to chat here. I'm going to have to drag it in like right over here so I can see it. I need to get another monitor over here so I can actually look at the camera when I'm talking to you guys. Yeah, you guys should have voted, got it up to that percent. Okay, so what we're going to do is kind of skim through here and see what you all are running. We have a lot of good comments here. I was kind of skimming through this throughout the day after I posted it. Like a lot of people, it's honestly a mix between Windows for gaming with friends, but most people generally prefer to use their Linux systems. Linux for 8 years. By the way, I use Arch. Fantastic. Straight Ubuntu, no flavors. The convenience of Ubuntu. That's nice. I used Ubuntu. It was my very first Linux distribution. I used it off and on for a number of years. And then I switched to Linux Mint, which that's a very common kind of pattern for people who are getting into Linux, is to use Ubuntu for a little bit. Look up Ubuntu alternative, and Linux Mint is the alternative generally, and then from there it's just a snowballing effect of the entire Linux ecosystem. Pop! OS, Kubuntu is a great KDE build of Ubuntu, or Farron. We were just talking to a Dominique a little bit ago, and I do believe, yep, Dominique's in chat too. I do recommend you guys check out Farron OS if you're looking for that beautiful KDE Plasma experience with that ultimately Debian base. Running Slint, never heard, a Slackware spin. On my M1 MacBook Air. I'm thinking about getting a M1 Apple machine soon, but I'm still kind of debating that. Arch Linux, Manjaro GNOME, super solid, glad I installed it. So this person likes it. He has 7 replies. And a lot of people switched from Manjaro GNOME to KDE. Beautiful. Yeah, so a lot of people are liking Manjaro GNOME. And like I said, that's what we're going to be checking out in this video. So what I'm going to do is try to grab my screen capture here. I'm going to stretch it to the screen so we can see everything. This right here is Manjaro GNOME. Now, before we dive into it, I'm going to skim through chat real quick here. If anybody had any questions, I don't think so. Manjaro has a lot of options. Yes, it does. Thank you for the super chat. Welcome. Or no, not super chat. Thank you for becoming a member. Thank you for becoming a techie member. I do appreciate that, Jim. Hopefully you enjoy it. So, what we're going to do here is, like I said, this right here is Manjaro GNOME, making sure there's no lag. One thing, and the very first thing I noticed, I'm kind of familiar with the original, or the layout, the default layout, which is what we're currently on. The first thing I noticed is how they have Firefox themed and customized. You can see they really squished it down, made it very compact, so you're not really wasting any room. They got the... sorry about that. They got the URL bar up here kind of built into the title bar as well as everything else. The only thing is you kind of got to find a spot if you want to go ahead and move it around, but I do really enjoy how they have Firefox themed and how they have the CSS and really the GDK theming and all that that's going on there. Firefox in Manjaro GNOME out of the gate is absolutely beautiful. Now, with that said, I've tried to stick with the default, and I actually do like it. I like this kind of Mac OS X or Mac OS style dock down here. Chrome or Firefox? This is Firefox. If I open up Chrome real quick, I have Chromium on this system, and it just looks like your typical Chromium. It actually, if we put these side by side, you could see in this instance, Firefox actually takes up their UI and everything within Manjaro, takes up a lot less room. Might be hard to see on your guys' screen, but it's about double the space that takes, and I prefer Firefox in general. So we are going to stick with that for now. A lot of people don't prefer Firefox anymore, but I'm still one of those that are holding on for dear life. If we go over here, let's check out some of the applications that are on this system. So right here we have Geary. I'm not using it. Like I said, I use Nextcloud right now to manage my email. Under accessories, we have a couple different things. We have the icon browser, and that's one thing going through this system that you're going to notice is the icons, or at least the default icons that they use, is very nice. I see no need to change it. Things that I wouldn't expect to be, well, have an icon do, you can kind of see that down here in that bar. We have our tweaks, we have our weather. So this is something I haven't opened up yet. Let's get this set up real quick. I'm in Cheney, Washington. A lot of people freak out when I say my city, but it's like, I have like my school banner and stuff in the background, so people would figure it out if I didn't just blurt it out. So their weather application is beautiful. This is one of the things we checked out in the original video, so it's a good thing I have that set up now. Running candy icons looks cool. Yeah, so I don't know the name, so actually let's go over here, open up accessories, go to this icon browser here, and here we can see everything. So this is nice, just a nice little tool to check out what's going on the system. Applications, it's a long load time when I click these, but you can see it's a huge list of icons on here, so it's nice that they include that application. Under accessories, we have Cavantum, software, token, help, tweaks, main menu. They have the caffeine thing, disks. GNOME disk utility is by far my favorite. Under extensions, let's go ahead and dig through the extensions real quick. So what I'm going to do, let's kind of zoom in on this, because this might be a little difficult to see. So I'm going to, I'm going to have to drag OBS in here for just a sec so I can adjust this so y'all can see it better. Alright, about there should be good. Alright, so these are our GNOME extensions. Hold on, I just got to make sure. There we go. Sorry, like I said, I just installed this, so I don't have my OBS completely set up, so I can't easily switch in between zoom in, zoom out views. I really need to save my configs for everything. But this is all the GNOME extensions that they went ahead and installed. Like we said, a lot of these, they have a ton of them not selected, and that's because as you switch between their layouts, it's going to deselect and re-enable certain ones. So right here we have the app indicator, which is up there. We have applications menu, arc menu, dash to dock. So the layout I'm currently using is using dash to dock. They have dash to panel. They have a lot of extensions in here. The ones that are enabled with this are the GNOME 40 UI improvements, which we took a look at. They have hide search, increased thumbnail size, so just a couple things that they wanted to change. We have Pacman or PAMAC updates indicator and the X11 gestures. That's one thing I had to do. I switched from Wayland to X11 just because OBS is starting to work in Wayland, but the overall experience of Wayland isn't there yet, but it's getting real close. It's getting real close. So if I went ahead, one thing I want to try out, let's open this layouts application. And then let's right click and let's go back to the full screen view real quick. So transform, stretch to screen. You can see my little dock down here. I really hope it keeps all my icons how they are, because I'm going to try switching the layout here. So let's go over to, right now it's on just Manjaro. We could go over to traditional. We have GNOME, tiling, Manjaro legacy. So let's go to the traditional and apply that. And hopefully everything works okay. And it actually kept my my icon layout, so that's really good. That's one thing last time. This is the arc menu. I know when we checked it out last time, when you switch layouts, the arc menu settings that you originally had do not stay, and that's not really a good thing. But if we go over, if we switch it to like just basic GNOME, apply that, it'll take that away. If I hit the Windows key, okay, cool. So it's keeping everything as is. So that's one thing I was kind of worried about switching between these layouts. But overall, it's a good experience, and they are running GNOME 40. So if I actually go, I'm going to switch it back to the Manjaro layout real quick, and let's open up our terminal here. So I could kind of run through exactly what we're running on this system with good old-fashioned, NeoFetch. There we go. And we'll give it a zoom in here so we can kind of see what is going on this system. It is running the 5.13 kernel. The package count is 1200, but I've had it for a while. I've installed quite a few things, virtual machine, Minecraft, Inkscape, GIMP. A lot of these things were not on here, OBS Studio. So it's running the ZSH shell, and you can see my monitors. It's currently running the latest version of GNOME, which is 40.4, and for a GNOME experience, it's handling very, very well. Well, for a GNOME 40 experience. It's not as good as Fedora, because Fedora is just vanilla. You get what you get, it's GNOME. But this, they added a lot of different extensions, tweaks, modifications. So it's not going to be as pure and clean of an experience as something like the Fedora GNOME version, but it's definitely up there. And you can see my other specs that aren't really relative to what we're talking about. And you can see that icon theme right there, as well as the window manager theme and theme that we're using. So that is that. Now let's go back and check out more of the applications on our system here. Minecraft launcher closed, use multi-MC. Yeah, somebody was just talking about that in the Discord chat. If you are interested, in the chat right now, right below here, right there, I've pinned a link to our Discord server. If you guys are interested in that, I will be jumping in after this live stream just to talk to you guys a little bit more. So go ahead, join our Discord, and I'm in there quite a bit. And I often like kind of share my screen when I'm editing videos, things like that. So I'd recommend you go ahead and jump on in there. With that said, let's go ahead and check out what else we have here. We saw layouts. This is just no maps, nothing too exciting. And we have OBS Studio, web apps. I tried to set up web apps, but I actually had an issue with that. For example, let's do it real quick. Let's see if I still have that issue. I wanted to set it up to, let's set it up to something else. Let's just do Twitter. I'm not actually going to keep this, but we'll do https://twitter.com. That's a good enough link. Internet, Firefox, and OK. So now that's there. If I go and search up Twitter, or it should be right there. There it is. Twitter. And the problem I had is I couldn't move it around at all. I can resize it. Maybe I have to hold Alt. Alt, click, or Windows key. Okay, so that's how I move it around. So I would probably want to go ahead and add a navigation bar, but I'm not sure what the hotkey is to go ahead and close this out at the moment. but that is their web applications. I'm not logged in. I could go ahead and resize it and all of that. I'm going to throw that out of the way real quick, but it is pretty cool because you could have kind of like a, if I bring it back in here, you could kind of have a mobile Twitter client thing going on in the side or wherever you want. It's a pretty cool little feature. So slide that out. I would want to put a navigation bar on it though. So I would go in, there's the edit button, internet icon. Also, can we do that again? Oh, Firefox crashed. Firefox is already running, but the device, blah, 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 close the process, different profile. Okay. So that probably has something to do with that web app. It doesn't really work the best, but it's there. I think they brought it in from the Linux Mint, but I'm not 100% sure. Title bar off by default. Press Alt for that. Classic Firefox. Get a browser to have title bars. Yeah. Okay, back to the applications. That was web apps. Partially issues on mine. We have Cheese. Chromium is not installed out of the gate, but we do have that there. I have FileZilla. That's one of the things I added. I have Kden Live on here at the moment because I haven't set up DaVinci Resolve because I want to record that process so I can get you guys that DaVinci Resolve on the AMD GPU tutorial, which I will be doing soon. And really, that's all I have on my system. We can look down here. We have Spotify. That's not on there by default. Their Files application is nice. They have gedit, the GNOME terminal, and that's really it. It doesn't come with too much. Obviously, it comes with PAMAC, which in my opinion is one of the best package managers. Not package managers, but GUI interfaces for package management that you can get, especially on an Arch-based system. You could install this on any Arch system. You could, if you're running like Endeavor OS, just do yay pamac-all, and you'll get full Flatpak, snap package support, full AUR, everything like that within PAMAC. So we go into preferences, type in our password, and this is where you can go ahead and enable those third-party things such as Flatpak support, snap support. Personally, a lot of people disagree with me on this, but I prefer snap packages over Flatpaks, but that's just me. And then enable AUR support so you get the whole AUR going on in here. But we can go advanced, general, we have settings here. Where's the parallel? Is there a parallel? There it is. Up to 4, let's go 10. I have a gigabit internet so it can handle it. And you could set your update times and all that. And then here you could go ahead and get whatever applications you need. So, do I have MPV on here? Let's see. That's one thing I may be missing. Yeah. And the cool thing in this Manjaro GNOME, if you search MPV, it pulls up add remove software, which is PAMAC. So then I can just hit enter. There it is. Install. Apply. Easy as that. We'll grab that. I can't say it out loud because I'll get in trouble. But yeah. So I'm going to install this. Let's see what chat's saying. Since you're a fan of Endeavor OS, does it make easier to install Arch configs? Endeavor OS is very, very lightweight. When you install Endeavor OS, some of the things that I do is install PAMAC because I prefer that GUI kind of feel. But overall, everything is fairly set up right out of the gate for you. In Endeavor, the only thing I really have to kind of struggle with is printer support, because I have a really weird off-brand printer and it just doesn't work with the generic cups drivers, so it's kind of a hassle for me. But that's really the only issue I have. I wish Manjaro had an OEM option in their ISOs, so do I. Why would you even use snaps, Flatpak, so you have AUR access? I've had better experience using the snap, like Discord right here is a snap package. I've had better experience with that. And the publishers are the ones who actually update the snap packages, and some publishers prefer snaps over other things, and some of the people who maintain, usually the AUR is fine, but sometimes the people who maintain that AUR aren't the actual publishers, they're just helping, but I just prefer to get it directly from the publisher. And there's just some apps that work a little bit better, such as Discord, Spotify is a snap package, things like that. But I could be completely full of it. That's just what I've experienced in my use cases. You cannot really sandbox this. You can do it with Flatpaks, congratulations on 50k subs. Thank you so much. Did you ever try a tiling window manager? I used i3 on Arco Linux for a little bit, but I just prefer the mouse. I like using a mouse. It's just what I'm used to doing. It's how I work the best. Discord with the system, pretty nice. On Arch, EndeavourOS, I feel like it does it better. Yeah, EndeavourOS does a great job as an Arch distro. But what we're going to do now is jump through our settings real quick. You can see we have Manjaro Setting Manager. This has not changed since I started playing around with it. It's just some basic stuff. You have your locale settings, your kernel. There used to be an issue with Manjaro GNOME where like the terminal wouldn't work and you had to like go and change some locale settings. But that was with, I think, their last release, and they fixed that since then. Here, this is nice. You have a full set of options to go ahead and pick specifically what kernel you're running. So right now we can see that we're running the 5.13 kernel. But if I wanted to, I could go ahead and switch to the 5.10 LTS kernel. But it ships with 5.13, so that's just going to be what I stick with. And you could go all the way down to a 4-point-something kernel. If your hardware for some reason doesn't like a newer kernel, it's nice to have this option to go ahead and downgrade if you need to, or upgrade if you're feeling risky. I would not recommend using experimental kernels. But if we go back, we have user accounts, time and date. You have some hardware configuration here. So I am using a Radeon RX 580. So it's just all kernel drivers, so I don't really have too much I have to mess around with in here. If I go back, we have our keyboard settings, and that's basically Manjaro Setting Manager. The main use for that is your locale stuff, user accounts, and messing around with your kernel version. So now, if I go over to settings here, these are our actual system settings. Let's see, I love Endeavor. Sorry, I'm kind of skimming back and forth to chat too. AUR is pretty neat. What do you think would be best for running vanilla? Install GNOME 40, Fedora, or Endeavor? Honestly, if you don't have a strong preference between Arch and Fedora, Fedora is really nice with GNOME. But if you like the AUR and you like to be able to get PAMAC and things like that, like I do, go with EndeavourOS. But I had a really good experience on Fedora. Fedora is a wonderful Linux distribution. Linus Torvalds uses it, so it's pretty good. And here we have our network settings. You can see I'm using a wired connection. Bluetooth, if we go to backgrounds here, you can see some of these stock backgrounds that comes with Manjaro. I haven't changed it. I'm just using the typical plain default one. Fedora is the best with GNOME 40. I would highly agree with Pizza Loving Nerd. Fedora handles, if you want vanilla GNOME, it's the way to go, for sure. I used it for just over a month, and the only reason why I honestly didn't stick with Fedora is because I had a heck of a time trying to get DaVinci Resolve to work. I honestly, if there wasn't just a couple little things, I probably would just stick with Fedora. It's a great system, but I always end up coming back to Arch. Some sort of Arch-based system, even though Pizza wouldn't agree with me that Manjaro is, you can't claim Manjaro usage if you use Manjaro. But these are the backgrounds. So, like I said, I haven't changed the default one, but they have some really nice looking ones in here that you go ahead and flip through. Like, I'm pretty sure this is like a GNOME stock one. They have the look down over the trees. They have all your typical Manjaro GNOME ones that I've been on throughout the years. This one's really nice. I used this one. Actually, my fiance used this one on her computer when she was running Manjaro because she ran Manjaro GNOME for her duration. I can't talk today. While she was taking college courses. Well, last quarter anyways. They have this background. Some really nice looking ones here. Let's see if I should stick with one. This is one I use all the time. I love this one. But I think I'm just going to go and stick with the default. Or maybe this one. This one's looking pretty snazzy. Yeah, blue one is GNOME's default. Thank you, Dominique. This one was looking real good too. Might stick with that. But, okay. So we'll move on. Notifications, we have our notification settings here. So you have all your different applications, and you could turn on and on specific applications. So if Firefox, for some reason you accidentally hit accept for a whole bunch of different websites and you just want to say screw it and turn it off, you could turn off notifications for specific applications here. I do this sometimes with Discord if I'm going to record a video, but generally you could just go up here. I think it's up here. There was that was an extension I had. But you can go hit do not disturb, and now I won't. Oh, it's right here. There it is. I think. Yep, do not disturb. It's hiding right there. Like I said, I'm not too familiar with GNOME yet, so I'm still kind of trying to figure out where everything is at. But with any GNOME, you have all your notifications here. Do not disturb. Now that I inputted my location, I have my weather data there. And if I want to, I can add some world clocks, which I might actually consider doing. Manjaro GNOME. Yep, Firefox 91.02. And have everything else there. I'm going to keep do not disturb off. You can enable lock screen notifications, which is nice, even though I personally have my system set to not do that. Sorry if I'm blowing out the mic. There we go. Search, you have your search stuff. So here, when you go ahead and search for GNOME, this will control what search results are shown. I'm not seeing oh yeah, it's right there. So you can disable PAMAC if you wanted to through this. And that's what I was talking about earlier when I searched up MPV. And you can find certain things right here easily in the kind of Arch user repositories, but through the PAMAC graphical user interface here. So that is really nice. They have passwords, terminal, weather, so you can search weather. If we go under applications here, we can get some application specific settings. For example, if I went to Discord here, I could disable notifications, run it in the background, figure out how much storage it's actually using, and you could do that for a lot of different applications and find their specific settings. So, and you can see the default handlers, image files, it's the default for a lot of different things on my system. So generally I just open all my images with GIMP, because I really don't open images that much unless if I'm going to be actually editing it. So that's kind of why I have that set up that way. Chat becomes sussy. What's going on over here? Among Us distro. Yeah, if you're interested in the Among Us Linux distribution, I have a whole live stream and video on that. You could check it out. We have privacy settings, so you can turn off location services, disable your cameras, microphones, things like that. Sound, power, displays. You have your display settings here. You can see my current setup. I have the super wide, ultra wide right there where I throw everything while I'm live streaming. It's a pretty nice setup in my opinion. Mouse and trackpad. A lot of this is just typical stuff you'd expect. Removable media stuff, and there's some slight differences between Manjaro and stock GNOME, but really not too much in just the basic settings. And here we have basically what we saw in NeoFetch. My hardware model is system manufacturer, system product name, because it's a custom build and it can't figure it out. You have your processor, your disk capacity here. So this is all your hard drives combined. I have 5.3 terabytes, and that's primarily because of a backup drive. We have the Manjaro Linux rolling, and right now I'm currently on X11. I did mention that earlier. If you weren't here when I did mention that, Wayland is good, but for the stuff I do, I need Xorg. If I wasn't using OBS, I'd probably be fine in Wayland, but OBS almost works with Wayland. Before, it wouldn't even open, but, well, it wouldn't even pull like window capture or anything, but it's getting a lot better. So I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I haven't really added extensions or anything yet. I'm trying to stick with stock for the time being. Our system's up to date. We can open up our package manager. This dock down here is really nice if I minimize like GIMP windows. Here, let's open one for example. If I pull up GIMP, go to File, Open Recent, and I go Live, this is the thumbnail for this specific live stream. So if I zoom out a little bit, you can see the entire thing. And if I go ahead and minimize this down into here, usually it goes over here and gives me a little preview window, but it's not doing it right now. I was kind of hoping it would so I could show you, but that's okay. we'll just skip that for now. Other than that, that is our look at Manjaro. That's the whole system that I'm aware of. Unless if I missed something. I don't think I missed anything. We have system tools, printers and things like that. The system monitor, you can see kind of how this is running at the moment. I have a lot of things going, so don't think that this is stock performance. I'm using 5.2 gigabytes of RAM of 33.6. CPUs all over the place, but we have 1, 2, 3 Firefox tabs open, OBS, Discord, and all of that. So yeah, that was our look at Manjaro GNOME. What I'm going to do now is primarily pay attention to chat. If you're here for the Manjaro look, that was about it. What I will do now is give my opinion and review on it. Overall, it has been really, really good. I had a couple issues before I changed it from Wayland. So the one of the issues I was having in Wayland is when I would log out and log back in, it would resize all my windows, and that was annoying. But as soon as I changed it to Xorg, that went away. There's probably some way to fix it, but I just didn't look into it because it was fixed. Why don't you try Krita? I think it's a good photo editor. I tried it. I'm so used to GIMP now that I just tend to stick with it. Krita's really good for painting, and if you actually have some sort of artistic talent. Me, personally, I am the least artistic person out there. Literally, my screenshots or my thumbnails are screenshots on laptops or screenshots with windows altered to look kind of cool, and that's it. I am not artistic, but I've gotten used to GIMP enough that it's very easy to use for me now. So like something I just recently made was this thumbnail. This was the Endeavor thumbnail, and I think if I unlink this, you can see this is just a screenshot on a laptop. It's pretty simple. This is a laptop. I can move that out of the way, and it's an Endeavor OS background. So that's the extent of my my thumbnails right there. That's how I do a lot of them. I really like how this looks, honestly. Let's undo all that real quick. Otherwise, I do, if I don't have any text, I usually go with this. But if I do have text, I try to change it up a little bit. Not artistic, gang. Yeah, neither am I. Hey, Arch, Bang Crush, Bang are great. It's good enough. It is good enough. How long has this been going on for? We're at 33 minutes. It's kind of a short stream. We should probably do something else. I don't know what to do though, because that was our first look. I'll just answer chat questions. If anybody has any other questions, comments, or concerns, now is the time to let me know. Sorry to any of you who just recently joined. That was a shorter live stream because it was really simple. There's not really much going on in this system that is incredibly exciting. It just works. It is nice. Thank you for subscribing, Governor of I can't even say it. California. Thank you. Manjaro is still behind Arch repo for updates. It is still behind the Arch repo. They use their own repositories, which they pull from Manjaro. Do you run a home lab? Not really. Actually, I might be able to show you. Ignore me while I fumble with some things. Right here is a server cabinet that I can't really show you that well. You probably can't hear me talking. Right there's a server cabinet. There's really not much in there. The only things I have in my server cabinet are, I have a couple mini PCs that I use as media servers. I used a Nextcloud instance in there. Yeah, thank you. It is a very nice door. It's a nave point. It's pretty tall. I mean, it's a good 4 feet tall for a server cabinet. Maybe a little less, but it's a pretty good size. But it's pretty empty. I mean, like, it's a tall server cabinet, and all I have in it is a little power bar strip, a shelf, and 2 mini PCs sitting on top of the shelf, and then I have a printer and scanner in there on the bottom. I'm going to do a video on that eventually when I get a little bit more in it, because right now it's not too exciting. What do you think of other Unix OSs like GNU Herd and OpenBSD? I used OpenBSD for like 2 days. I'm just not used to it. I didn't feel like reading wikis, and I had stuff to do. So using something like OpenBSD or FreeBSD or anything like that, I'm not really interested in at the moment. But yeah, so my thought, can't really give opinions on it because I haven't used it more than probably a couple hours in total of actual use, so I can't really give too much opinions on those operating systems. I might get a Mac soon. That might be something that's happening. MacBook Pro. Let's see. Boot on hardware, but it's not stable enough to consider usable. Yeah, I heard of Herd, but other than that, I'm not really. M1 is killer. Yeah, I'm thinking about either getting the Air or the Pro. I might be able to afford an Air, but I want the Pro. It's a dilemma for sure. Yeah, I think we're gonna wrap this up. Sorry to anybody who just joined. Can you do a video on setting up CPU frequency scaling to performance? I'm gonna have to look more into that because I don't know. You should probably do that. I'm just being too lazy to do so. It's a better deal, almost the same. Yeah, I was watching some side-by-side videos of people doing like renders and stuff. Usually it's like a 10 to 15% performance difference between the Pro and the Air. Oh yeah, the $750. That's a good deal. I'm a college student. Maybe I could get that discount. That's nice. Okay. I'm going to pull up here. I'm gonna have to do this in this other window. Hello, everybody. Nice little zoom in here, because Pro has a fan. Yeah, that's the main difference. If I take away chat and I bring in credits, I'm gonna do this thing real quick. We have a new member that joined us during this live stream. Let's go. I already forgot you're up here somewhere. You just recently joined. Jim, thank you so much for becoming a techie member. I do appreciate that very much. And thank you to all of our other YouTube members and Patreon supporters. We have Mitchell Valentino, Timo Anthony, Phil Mack, and Kyle. You guys are some of the highest tier Patreon and YouTube members. And I do thank you guys so much for the support. And thank you to all the other Techie and Techie Plus members. If you prefer Patreon, you go over there. But if you like YouTube, you could join hitting the button right below this stream, and you get access to badges, emojis, a couple extra things. It's a pretty good deal. But other than that, I do thank you all so much for watching this live stream. Please, there is a link. You can't really see it now. Here, I'll get rid of this and bring in chat. Hello, chat. There is a link right there. It's probably down there where you guys are chatting. But if you tap that link, you could go ahead and join our Discord in just a little bit. I'm not a fan of giving YouTube money. Yeah, that's fair. That's why I do the Patreon too, because I know a lot of people don't like to give Google money. They have enough of it. What I was saying is you can hit that link up there and jump into our Discord. After I end this stream, I'll probably be in there in like 5 or 10 minutes or so to go ahead and chit-chat with some of you guys. Yeah, we're going to end it here. Thank you all so much. I hope you all have a beautiful day. I'm going to try to do this at the same time. Thank you so much. And good